Something else that Jeremy Hunt announced today, he confirmed that nuclear power is going to be classed as environmentally sustainable to drive investment in the energy sector. He's also going to launch an organisation called Great British Nuclear to bring down costs. Let's hear and get some reaction on what we heard about nuclear power from Jeremy Hunt today. Tom Burke is chair of the independent climate change think tank E3G. He was also previously executive director of Friends of the Earth and used to be a special advisor to 3 environment secretaries during the 1990s. Thank you, Tom, for joining us tonight. Jeremy Hunt announcing in the Commons then that nuclear power will be classed as environmentally sustainable. We heard some quite loud jeering, I think is the best way to describe it, at that announcement in the Commons earlier. Some MPs not pleased with that. What's your reaction to that?
I think you should worry more about whether or not it's economically sustainable. He missed a huge opportunity today to help drive energy bills down by fulfilling the commitments the government's already made to improving energy efficiency in our homes, which would also do something, by the way, for the climate, but would really help people now. But this announcement is an announcement saying, not only am I not helping you get your bills down, I'm going to put them up much more than they need to go up in future in order to deliver very uneconomic nuclear power stations.
So you think this is chucking money away effectively?
Yeah, and it's chucking away the money of businesses and homeowners who can't afford to do it, because there's no need for a more nuclear power station in order to meet our net zero, our climate change commitments. It's interesting. I hope the Chancellor knows a bit more about the economy than he does about the electricity system. He told people this morning on the radio that nuclear electricity was going to be cheaper than other sources. Well, right now you can buy wind power for about £40 a megawatt hour, and nuclear costs about £125 a megawatt hour. So I'm not sure that his arithmetic is very good in that announcement he made this morning. And he talked about baseload power as being the reason you've got to do this. Well, the former chief executive of National Grid a decade ago told us then that baseload was an outmoded concept. So I think he really did get it wrong with all of this today.
But there is an issue, isn't there, with renewables, that they aren't necessarily always available and might not necessarily always be able to meet the demands that's put on the grid.
I think that's absolutely right, John, and therefore you have to have an answer to that question. Lights have got to go on when you turn the switch. But we do actually have lots of answers to that question. It's not as if this is a new problem. We've been talking about this for a very long time. And actually, the real program for making energy bills cheap and affordable for everybody and guaranteeing security of supply is to, first of all, invest in energy efficiency, then to invest in the renewables, and then to invest in being able to use batteries and long duration storage, largely, I suspect, through hydrogen, as a way of making sure you can cope for those very rare periods when you might have 2 or 3 weeks with relatively low wind. So there are lots of things to do. The question is, what's the cheapest way to guarantee that you get reliable electricity that turns on? And nuclear is a long way from the cheapest way.
We also had an announcement of this starting gun effectively being fired to build the first small modular nuclear reactors.
Yeah, I wish you could buy one.
Yeah.
there aren't any for sale anywhere. And you can't buy one because if they're to be modular, you have to buy a large number. And so far, this is kind of pie in the sky, really. Maybe someday there'll be a place for small modular reactors. I don't know. But we have to provide, if the government's target is to be met, we have to provide affordable power by 2035 without either small modular reactors or indeed any more big nuclear reactors. So if we can do that by then and the government meets its target, what need will you have for small nuclear reactors?
So in your view then, in terms of energy security going forward, we'd be fine with renewables, but also, an energy efficiency drive and use of batteries, effectively, you were saying?
Batteries, and I think we turn off a lot of our wind at night because there's no demand for it. We could use that electricity, which is currently we're paying people not to produce. We could use that to make hydrolyze water to make hydrogen, store the hydrogen to use to run gas, existing or modified gas generators like the ones we already have, on those very rare moments when we really do need to have something that's not wind and solar. That's true, but that's a solvable problem. He's not the first chancellor to stand up and promise lots of nuclear. Mrs. Thatcher promised, and she was very good at getting what she wanted. She promised us we'd have 10 nuclear power stations by 2000, and actually we only got one. So it really is much more difficult to do it with nuclear and much more expensive, much better to rely on things we know how to do and we can get done quickly, which is the real problem, both for bills and the climate.
Tom Burke from the climate change think tank E3G. Thank you for joining us on LBC News tonight.